So, you've decided you want to shoot some video. It should be as easy as grabbing a camera, pressing record, downloading the footage, then editing it, right? Well, yes and no. While most cameras have great automatic features and video software is very accepting of video from various sources, it's still important to know some technical details that go into creating digital video. Having a better understanding of the fundamentals of digital video will help you avoid a wide range of issues common to beginners, such as low video quality, overly large file sizes of final outputs, audio out of sync, and even compatibility issues with software and websites. In this video, I want to explain 3 video properties that are important to know when shooting and editing video. They are frame rate, resolution, and interlaced versus progressive scan video. Let's begin with frame rate. Frame rate refers to the number of images or frames captured per second to generate a moving image. The camera records a series of images in quick succession to simulate motion. The more images it captures per second, the smoother the motion. Anything below 16 frames per second and this illusion of motion is actually interrupted. This is why rates of 24 frames per second and higher are the norm. So, how do you know what frame rate you should use in your video? Luckily, there are a number of standard frame rates that are common across most cameras. These include 24, 25, 30, 50 and 60 frames per second. The frame rate that you select will depend on the type of camera you have, what the project is, and even the region of the world you live in. 24 frames per second is most commonly used when the creator wants to more accurately simulate the frame rate and feeling of film. However, this frame rate may not be supported on all cameras. 25 frames per second is the most commonly used frame rate for those who live in regions of the world that still use or have formerly used the PAL and CCAM analog TV region standard. These include, but are not limited to, Australia, New Zealand, much of Asia, Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and much of South America. When digital video came to these regions, 25 frames per second remained as the most adopted frame rate. 30 frames per second is the most commonly used frame rate for those who live in regions of the world that still use or have formerly used the NTSC analog TV region standard. These include, but again are not limited to, Japan, North America, and North and South America. Unlike PAL, when digital video was introduced, the existing NTSC analog frame rate of 29.97 frames per second was replaced with 30 frames per second. Frame rates of 50, 60 or even higher are commonly used when the editor wants to slow down the footage while retaining smooth motion. So, if you want your video to be 25 frames per second, you could shoot 50 frames per second and slow the video down to half speed and still have a fluid 25 frames per second motion. The same can be said for 60 frames per second and higher. These high frame rates can also be used to capture fast movement cleanly, as lower frame rates can produce a stuttery image. For the vast majority of projects, if you live in a current or former PAL CCAM region like Australia, you should shoot and edit in 25 frames per second. On the other hand, if you live in a current or former NTSC region, you should shoot and edit in 30 frames per second. The next property to consider is the resolution. Resolution refers to the physical size of a video described in pixels. Video can actually be any size. However, there are a number of standardized resolutions that are compatible with most video cameras, televisions, and online video platforms. These are often characterized in 4 categories: standard definition, HD, full HD, and ultra HD. SD, or standard definition video, is any video that is lower in resolution than HD. These include the size of 720 by 576 for videos in current or former PAL regions, and 720 by 480 for videos in current or former NTSC regions. The only time you would ever encounter this size would be from older standard definition cameras or from video converted from analog video. Also, if you're watching a standard definition television channel or any DVD, you are watching video at either of those sizes. For widescreen standard definition, the square video is actually anamorphically stretched to appear as a full widescreen video. HD or high definition refers to video larger than standard definition but smaller than full HD. The standardized HD size is 1280 by 720. While some cameras do allow you to film at this size, it is actually most commonly used in post-production for outputting your high-res video at a smaller size, to reduce its file size, or to make it more compatible with a particular online platform. There are a few resolutions that can be considered full HD. The most common are 1440 by 1080 and 1920 by 1080. 1920 by 1080 is the most widely used full HD video size and is the one you are most likely to use. 1440 by 1080, however, is an older full HD resolution, but it is still used in TV broadcasts and on some video cameras. Its downside is its quality is not as good as 1920 by 1080 as the video is anamorphically stretched to form a widescreen image. UHD, or ultra high definition, refers to video that is higher than full HD. This includes the standardized sizes of 3840 by 2160, or more commonly known as 4K, and 7680 by 4320, known as 8K. 4K is currently the most adopted Ultra HD size, while 8K is only used in very high-end productions and require powerful computers to process. So, you might be thinking, what video resolution do I use? Well, if your camera shoots a maximum of full HD 1920 by 1080, then always use that size. You can convert it to a smaller size later if required. If your camera is capable of shooting 4K and running out of space on your memory card is not an issue, then shooting at 4K is a great option, not only because of its higher resolution at 4 times that of full HD, but also because it gives you the option of reframing in post-production. Reframing is where you shoot in 4K but edit in full HD. This allows you to zoom in on the video and reframe it without losing quality. It's a great option for when you only have one camera but want to break up shots by cutting closer to a subject, like in an interview setting. It also allows you to crop out unwanted elements within a shot. This does mean that you won't be able to output your video as 4K, but remember, most viewers will only choose to view full HD anyway due to data or hardware limitations. The final property to consider is interlaced versus progressive scan video. I won't get into the specifics of what interlaced and progressive are, but to put it simply, interlaced video is primarily designed for TV broadcast, so if you're not intending to shoot for TV, then don't use interlaced video. This is because the way the video image is drawn is different and not directly compatible for display on computers, smartphones, and online video platforms. This is an example of interlaced footage being viewed on a non-compatible device. Notice the combing effect, synonymous with interlaced footage. Progressive scan is the video type used for some TV broadcast and almost all other types of video, so it's the one you will most commonly use. Now, the reason I mention these two video types is because you may notice from time to time the use of an I or a P placed after a number to describe a video size, with the I indicating the video is interlaced and the P indicating it's progressive. So for example, you may see 720p or 1080p, and they are 1280 by 720 progressive and 1920 by 1080 progressive respectively. If you see something like 1080i, it means it's an interlaced piece of video at 1920 by 1080 pixels. So it's important to choose the right type of video in your camera prior to recording. However, don't despair. If you shoot in an interlaced format by accident, it can be deinterlaced, which means removing the interlacing, but this will result in a small loss in quality. To sum up, choose a frame rate that is most commonly used in your region, 25 or 30 frames per second, or higher if you wish to do slow motion. Select a video size. 720p is acceptable if the destination platform is the web, although 1080p is always preferred. Shoot 4K if your camera allows and your computer is capable of processing it. This also gives you the benefit of reframing in post-production. And finally, for most cases, shoot and edit progressive and only shoot interlaced if specifically requested. I hope by now you have a better understanding of frame rates, resolutions, and interlaced versus progressive scan video. In the next part of Digital Video Fundamentals, I will discuss some more technical aspects of video which ultimately affect its file size and compatibility.